Well, guys, I see it's 8 o'clock, so let's go ahead and start our class. We've got a lot going on today. What I want to do first is give Jens just a couple of minutes to talk briefly, perhaps, about some of the expectations for your presentations next week. When we have those presentations, we're going to take them in order of your group numbers. So group number 1 will go first on Monday, 2, 3, and such. Depending upon how much time we have and each group takes, we may get through the first 4 presentations on Monday and then do the final 3 on Wednesday, or we may end up only getting through 3 on Monday and do the final 4 on Wednesday. But we'll take them in the order by group number as it's identified in Canvas. So I believe that means that the last group will be the group that does back market, group number 7. Jens, do you want to, and after Jens's comments, we're going to go ahead and start with our presentations this morning. We'll first have Damien presenting term sheets and structured contracts, and then Paolo will talk about liquidation preferences and voting rights. Dion and Gary will discuss conversion, dilution, and ratchets, and then finally Katie will talk about fiduciary responsibilities. After Katie's comments, we'll hear from Brian Nepper. Brian is our guest speaker. He's with Stat MD and has had a fair amount of venture capital and IPO experience in dealing with both public and private markets, of course. And then our final speaker for the day will be Bill Kurth, who is just a very engaging private capital entrepreneur in the Salt Lake area. So with that, Jens, so what do you say you lead us off?
Thanks, Rick. First of all, good morning, and I hope everybody had a good holiday weekend. First, I want to start with the open table case. So that case is graded, and I spent a lot of time adding annotations to the documents. I was actually impressed by most answers. Seems like you guys have really spent an extra bit of time trying to learn the case. So that was really good to see for me that it actually works to provide learning. So hats off to you guys. I got a message from a student that wanted me to explain more about the case. So I put in a bit of extra time to write those annotations. So if you're interested, go in and check those. Those should be sitting on the document in Canvas. So that's the open table case. So over to the term project. All the groups have done the first 2 pieces. And apologies for the due date for the second piece being May 25th. I understood that you guys had a day off, but we forgot about that when we planned out everything.
My bad.
Huh? Yeah, you're bad, Rick. But everybody has worked through those first 2 parts, and those were basically created so you start working on this from the beginning of the semester, and it all leads into the report that you guys have to write, and also the presentation that comes next week. So we have a lot of interesting businesses, and it should be very interesting both for me and Rick and all the people in the class to pay attention to all the groups' presentations. What you have to do for next week is you have to write a report. I've failed to specify how long that should be, and I'll write that in Canvas, but it can be between 5 and 10 pages. Try to be very diligent with the information and try to write it crisp and concise. That's very important when it comes to investor documents. In addition, you also have to create a PowerPoint deck. And as you may recall, I showed you this template for creating a 10-page deck for an investor pitch that you can follow if you want to, or you have to follow. Actually, me and Rick agreed on that. It's limited to 10 slides, so you really have to be selective on the information you choose to take from your report into the presentation. And keep in mind that you have 20 to 30 minutes. That means that you should limit your actual presentation to 20 minutes and be able to take Q&A for the remaining 10 minutes. I think I covered everything. Is there anything I forgot, Rick, or anyone else?
I don't think so, Jens. I just wanted to make sure you had a moment so that you could give us any detail you thought was necessary.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that.
Well, very good. Well, Damien, I believe that you're up first. And
can I interrupt for a minute and just ask Jens a clarification on the deliverables for next week?
Yeah, sure.
So Jens, we had the value creation was one part, and then the second part. So do we have, if I understood correctly, we have those two parts and then plus the report, or is that sort of what you're considering as the report?
Yeah, so it's actually, thank you for asking that question. It's a good clarification. So these two parts, you can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so these two parts, you've done these two already. And those two parts, we put them with the due date on the 18th and the 25th. So you would start working towards your report. So those two parts will go in as the first two parts of that report. And they need to be two parts or two chapters in an overall document. And then you have to add on the value creation and growth strategy and investment details also to that report. So you'll end up with a report that consists of 4 chapters.
Yeah. Okay. So when we're doing this is sort of our report. And do you then want us to compile for June 1st for the deliverable? Do you want us to compile all of this together, or do you want us just to submit it separately, or how do you want this delivered?
Compile it together, one document.
Okay. All right, gotcha.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thanks.
Guys.
And I need to keep the class for about another 5 minutes. And again, Bill, have a great day. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, you guys. Good luck.
Bye. So guys, today obviously is the last of our concept development discussions that are live, but we have several of them that, as you're aware, we didn't have on Monday because of the holiday. And those discussions are going to be given to me. I already have a couple of them, but the rest of them will be given to me by the end of the day today. And I'll shoot the videos out to you. I want to go ahead, and at that point that I shoot the videos out, I will also assign those people that are responsible to give us questions on those. And the videos will be both the presentations and the discussant comments and Q&A back and forth with the presenters. So hopefully those will go over well, and I think the technology on this is going to work. But today's the last of our live presentations for our concept development. Obviously, we have your Access and Capital Markets presentations on Monday and Wednesday, and then we have some critical discussions that will kind of round out each of our 2 classes Monday and Wednesday. I hope you've learned from this. I hope it's been an interesting experience for you thus far, and I'm looking forward to the final presentations because they are where you will take everything we've talked about and put them together with respect to these companies to which you've been assigned. You know, Bill talked about having learned some things and having started out not knowing much. And I want to make sure that you all recognize that a Bill Kurth, and Bill and I are probably right about the same age. I might be a little bit older than he is perhaps, but a Bill Kurth, just like myself and so many others, to the extent that we know things, it's because we've seen a few things. You know, Bill and I both feel a little bit about like the State Farm commercial. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. And it's clear to us, some of you have seen a few things as well. Jens has been around this block a couple of times. Victor's been around this. Some of the rest of you have seen some things. Some of you are just really new into this, like Dylan and such, but have an amazing ability to articulate the details. And I think that that goes right along with the likelihood of the success of your careers. I look at guys like Reed and Abasi, whom I've known for a little bit of time, and Noah and Hayden, and you've got some great opportunities in front of you, but it's experience that'll take you from the books through the doing that'll really give you the valuable lessons. And hopefully you'll put a little bit of that together as we deal with the Access and Capital Markets case. So as we finish up today, there are 4 of you I need to give assignments to create questions. And I've been doing this as we've gone along, and you'll probably recognize I haven't used any of those questions. But believe me, the day's about to come. And so I'll go ahead and use those questions from prior discussions, from this discussion, and maybe, and even some from the ones that are being videoed, and you'll see those come back to you in an interesting assignment here as we finish this out. So with that, Abasi, I would like you to take the responsibility to designing the questions on the term sheets and the structured contracts.
Okay.
Jack, I'd like you to take the responsibility of dealing with questions on the liquidation preference and voting rights discussion. Skylar, I'd like you to take the convertible securities and conversions and ratchets and dilution. And then finally, Victor, I'd like you to take the fiduciary responsibility of the board. And give us, again, you're going to give us 5 questions, the form of which I could use in a multiple choice. So you've got to give us the question, you've got to give me the right answer, and then you've got to give me 4 potentially plausible sounding answers, but that are not the right one, or 3 or 4, so I can have some multiple choice in here. Okay, so with that, any questions about what we're doing on Monday and how we're starting?
I have a quick question about the questions you want us to make. So you want those submitted on Canvas or just emailed to you? Or?
Yeah, Bossy, good question. Submit them to the Canvas assignment that is the Accessing Capital Markets assignment for the quiz questions. So you'll just be able to load them to the assignment there as a Word doc or a PDF, and I'll pull them from there. Good question. Okay, so real quickly, as we think of then about our last couple of days, let me go to a syllabus real fast. Bear with me. So as I had said earlier, we'll take presentations 1, 2, and 3, maybe presentation 4. Depends on how long we go, but at least 1, 2, and 3. So I need 1, 2, and 3 to be up and 4 to be loaded. And then on Wednesday we'll take 4, 5, and 6, or 5, 6, and 7, and maybe we'll take number 4 as well. But also, after we're done with the presentations on Monday, we're going to have a conversation that I've listed on the syllabus as a critical discussion. And you'll see some information in the critical discussion assignment, just like you have the other discussion assignments, but this is one we're going to have a discussion live. And the critical discussion assignment that we've got is ask the question, is the availability of private capital crowding out the IPO markets? So I want you to review some of the material online. I want you to be prepared to enter into a discussion, not just hearing Jack or Hayden or Abasi or Paula sit and tell us about this, because they don't have the assignment to do so, but for us to have a conversation. Now I believe and that I have assigned one of you to lead this discussion, and do I remember correctly that was Noah?
If it is, I have not seen it, but I can.
So or maybe it was Ben. It was one of the two of you, and I thought that one of you had come to me and said, "Hey, look, I don't think I had an assignment." I said, "Well, you got this." Ben, was it you that had the assignment to be the discussant on this?
I thought I was on direct listings.
Okay, so I'll go back to my notes, and to make sure, I'll reach out to whomever might be responsible. But I want somebody else other than me. I prefer to lead the conversation, but I'll go back to my notes and I'll reach out to you.
I'm not 100% sure if it was me or not. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't remember. I'll look. Don't worry about it. I'll let you know. So one of you will help lead the discussion, but I expect everybody to participate in the discussion. And hopefully the least important people in this conversation will be Jens and myself. And then we'll have a similar discussion, and yet again open-ended, but for which there's limited information for you to draw from. And this discussion will be on Wednesday after your presentations, and this will be how might the coronavirus-induced economic crisis shape the public and private capital markets. And that's where we're going to end the class together. I think is relevant to you because these are the markets that you're going to be stepping into as professionals. Any questions about any of this? Jens, any final comments that you need to offer for today?
Yes, there's actually one thing I didn't cover this morning, and that was we've received a few questions about finding information, especially financial information for the businesses for the term project. And all the businesses are private, so it's hard to find detailed financial statements. But I encourage you all to try to search for it. You know, articles, maybe there's you know, Crunchbase has is a good source that may have some financials. But if you can't find any and you've exhausted all your sources, you don't have to go to an extra length to find them. We understand that it's hard to find, and just make the most of it, and present whatever you can find, and make assumptions where you find that necessary as well.
Very good. Thank you. All right, guys. Well, if there's nothing else, we'll sign off for the day, and we'll see you on Monday. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Rick, I have a question real quick.
Oh, yes.
So for the discussant, for the online discussant, you want that to be interactive between the presenters and the discussant, or would you just like the discussant?
Yeah, I'd like it to be interactive with the discussant and the presenter, and ask you, the discussants, to coordinate something with the presenter so you could do that for us. Please.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.